The step 4 is more psychological tool.
Do you know what it is?
Made a searching and a fearless moral inventory of all our misdeeds. So that is a cleansing process which, if you have the gift of honesty, truthfulness, which you get through the discipline of yoga, and then you sit down and do this laboratory, personal laboratory of inner cleansing, you can get the capacity to be truthful about it, about the past, made a searching and fearless moral inventory.
For me, step 4 was fantastic. It was a great way to kind of beat myself up. It's like, I know.
Step 4 is?
Step 4 made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. You know, well, I spent my whole life taking a moral inventory of me, you and anybody else. So it was a great way, self-flagellation, you know. I was like pages and pages and pages of all the hatred and anger and bitterness in my head. You know, I heard one person share that her sponsor stopped her from doing it. He said, it's just too much, and I so related to that. I mean, he didn't stop me, but it was easy to do. Eventually it gets really boring, because you're writing this stuff out like that, and you're like, this is the same stuff. This is the same stuff about this person that I felt about this person and that person. And it becomes incredibly boring.
The first thing that hits a human being in any recovering program is the truth about themselves. Whatever that may be, the person has the humility, and humility for me is truth. Before, you can't see the truth if you are in any way filled with ego. And both the 12 steps and the yogic discipline, truth plays a major role there. So that's my encounter with truth.
For me, the first 3 steps were really connected to yoga in a very strong way, and I was fascinated by them. And Al-Anon then came back and helped me get out of that relationship by taking action. And all of that, of course, is, you know, anyone who studies yoga philosophy understands the relationship between taking action and meditation and seeing the right path for oneself and differentiating between good perception and poor perception of things.
When people do yoga poses, they have to know whether they're doing them accurately or not. They have to know, is it true that I'm straightening my leg? Is it true that I'm straightening my arm? Is it true that I'm doing some movement which is required in these poses? And that constant self-assessment, that constant self-observation in relation to the truth, develops somebody's capacity to adhere to the truth. That becomes very important when one's dealing with one's own emotional, mental activity. That's a harder thing to evaluate, harder thing to be true about, one's own intentions. And so yoga supports 12-step programs in that way, in that it's giving somebody a very practical way of not getting too caught up in their imaginary process, and it keeps their feet firmly on the ground in terms of what's real and what's not.